evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is now 7:23 p.m. Welcome to tonight's Planning and Zoning Commission meeting of Monday, July 7th, 2025. Members of the Planning and Zoning Commission and public may participate in the public hearing of July 7th, 2025. All participants will be able to speak when called upon. At this time, I would like to explain the procedures to be followed during the meeting. The Commission has both a consent agenda and an agenda for consideration of individual items. Items listed on the consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-contested. Item number 1, citizen comments, provides the opportunity for members of the public to address the Commission on items that are listed on the consent agenda. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes, and the Secretary will let you know when 1 minute is left. For all plats and plans conditionally approved or disapproved by the Commission, the applicant will be provided a written statement of the conditions for the conditional approval or the reasons for disapproval at the end of the meeting. These conditions and reasons are not arbitrary. They are directly related to the requirements of Local Government Code Chapter 212 and include citations to the law that is the basis for the conditional approval or disapproval. For individual consideration items, I will call the applicant or his or her representative to present the case. The applicant will have up to 5 minutes to present the case, which includes all persons representing the application. Then those wishing to speak in favor and those wishing to speak in opposition will have up to 5 minutes each to present his or her comments. Those wishing to speak in favor and those wishing to speak in opposition will have up to 5 minutes each to present his or her comments. And hopefully it doesn't turn off on me automatically again. Maybe I took longer than my 5 minutes. Prior to speaking, please give your name and address. Remember to speak directly into the microphone, as this hearing is recorded for public record. Any handouts you wish to provide should be given to staff. Please do not approach the Commission. The next meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission will be Monday, July 14th, 2025. The next item on our agenda, citizen comments on items listed on the consent agenda. April, has anyone signed up to speak on any item on the consent agenda?
No one signed up. Please proceed.
All right. Our next item is going to relate to the consent agenda. But before we move on to that, I just thought it might be great to have just a moment of silence in memory for all the people who have died in the flooding down along the Guadalupe, and also for those who are making the great effort to try and to save people and to find those who have passed. Thank you. All right. Secretary Merrick, would you please read the consent agenda into the record?
Yes, I have 4 items. The approval of the Planning and Zoning Commission minutes of Monday, June 2nd, 2025. 2025167 PL, Reaching for the Stars addition, which is located at 1227 East Pioneer Drive. The second one is 2025127 PL, Malara North Main Street addition. This is located at 715 North Main, 711 North Main, and 114 West Union Bower. The last one for approval is 2025201 PL, Center Park Estates, revised addition, located at 217 and 221 11th Street, Bear Creek Development Court.
All right.
Ready for a vote?
Yes. Do we have a motion for approval of the items on the consent agenda for approval?
I'll make a motion for approval.
One of y'all be
Or
letting me
second it, whatever.
All right, we have a motion and a second for approval of those 4 items. Please vote. All right, and the motion passes unanimously. All right, then on the consent agenda for disapproval.
For disapproval, we have 3, 2025-192, Temple Rose Addition, located at 2006 Rose Street. Also, 2025-195, PL, Irving ISD CTE Addition, located at 2200 West Irving Boulevard. And finally, 2025-199, PL, Conflines Crossing, preliminary final plat, located at 1501 Valley View Lane.
All right, and do we have a motion for disapproval for the reasons set forth
I'll
in
make a
the
motion
staff
for-
agenda memos?
I'll make a motion for disapproval.
For the-
second.
For the reasons set forth in the staff memos? For the reasons set forth in the staff memos?
Set forth what? Yeah, the reasons set forth in the staff notes. Yes, sir.
Second.
And a second. We have a motion and a second for disapproval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right, on to individual items. Number 9, Special Fence Plan 2024-411-SFP, located at 806 South Loop 12. Is the applicant present? No. Okay. Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? Did you all anticipate the applicant would be present? Okay. Well, since there's nobody to speak, I'll return it to the commission. We can have any discussion and a vote. It could be a motion to postpone. It could be a motion on the merits. We're able to do either at this time. We don't know why the applicant isn't here.
Mr. Chairman, if none of my fellow commissioners have any comments, I'd like to make a motion for Special Fence Project Plan 2024-411 SEP before the City Council with a motion for our disapproval.
Okay. We have a motion recommending disapproval. Do we have a second on that motion?
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending disapproval. Please vote.
We got a lot of second string going today, so.
The operator decides.
And the motion fails. All right, do we have a new motion?
I'll make a motion for approval of Special Fence Plan 2024-411-SFP.
I'll second.
Does anybody want to comment or discuss this at all? I mean, before we vote, I mean, it seems like maybe it'd
I
be
think
worth having a
this
little
is
discussion
going-
on this one.
I think this, by us approving this, is going to solve some issues with the city for the non-conforming compliant issues that they have. It's also going to obstruct some of the outside storage, and it's still going to give him the ability to stay in business and still work. I think by doing this, I think it's a good idea. It solves a lot of issues.
I think,
I would recommend postponing until he can come and present. That's what we've done in the past with other cases.
okay. So we currently have a motion, on the table for, to recommend approval. So I think unless that motion gets withdrawn, we have to vote on it first.
Well, in the spirit of making a comment, I'd be more inclined to postpone than to vote in favor, just because the staff recommendation said it doesn't meet the criteria, and so I didn't think there was a clear reason to grant it, but I'd be open to postponing.
I'll actually withdraw my second and agree to the postponement.
I'll remove my motion.
Okay. Do we have a motion to postpone to, this wouldn't be to the July 14th meeting, though, I presume. This would be
To the August.
to the August, what day is that? To the August 4th meeting.
I'll make a motion to postpone till the August 4th meeting.
A second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to postpone to the August 4th meeting. Please vote. And the motion passed unanimously. All right, on to item number 10, Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2025-144-CP, located at 1415 West Airport Freeway. This is the one that will have a companion case. Is the applicant present? Ma'am. Would you like to present on this and the companion case at the same time? Okay. Okay.
And I believe I have a presentation they're going to bring up. There it is. Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Megan Lash. I'm the president of Osta Industries. I am going to be the owner and developer of the proposed community that we're going to talk about this afternoon. My address is 4558 Benbrook Boulevard, Benbrook, Texas. Can you guys see what I'm seeing here on the screen, on your screens? Okay, I'll just keep talking so that way we can roll through this. The proposed project, as you may be aware, is an existing multi-complex.
There you go. Yeah, it turned off a second ago.
Okay.
No, now it's off again.
I think you turned the microphone off.
Yeah, you were pressing the microphone button.
Okay, sorry about that. There we go. As mentioned, I'm the owner of Osta Industries, Texas woman-owned firm. I have 15 years of multifamily experience. I actually own a development here that we built back in 2017, 18, called Canova Palms, that's financed utilizing the same process that we're going to do here. I've developed more than 3,000 units in Texas. We typically own all of our properties for more than 15 years. After we build them, we build and hold. We have green building practices, and we have on-site management at every one of our communities. Here's the development that we currently have under contract that we're seeking the rezone on. It is a property that was built in 1964 and needs significant improvements to get it up to current codes. I'll talk a little bit about some of those items here in a minute. As mentioned during the work session, we are not proposing to increase the density. We are just trying to rebuild at a high quality the units that are already there today. This reinvestment into the community is in total about a $37 million project on an existing multifamily structure, all while keeping these units affordable. Many of these units here are already naturally occurring affordable. This will ensure that they remain affordable for many years to come versus it being sold to a market rate group that would change the rents and force people out. We went through a resolution of support process back in February with council. It's part of our tax credit process that we go through. And during that process, we reached out through a mailer to 180 owners in the area. They gave us a radius, and it basically, I think, even put us across the highway to where we had to notice folks. We held a couple meetings, only had a few people attend. I think most of them that were in attendance were happy to see that there were some improvements going to be made on the site. The site is currently 2.9 acres. As mentioned during the work session, we are really just trying to bring it up to code. When we started digging into the site, we started with just looking at the front side of the property and taking down the front building. And as we started to dig into it, we realized there was really no way to solve some of the existing problems without scraping the whole thing. One of the main issues with the site as it exists today is there is not fire access. So If there were to be a fire today, there is not the road that gets you all the way to the back of the site is not wide enough for a fire truck to go back there. I think it's like 15 feet wide. And so once you really allow the fire truck access to be the big controlling factor, that's how we landed at this site plan. And I'll tell you, we went through probably about 15 iterations before we figured out, in order to get it close to where we would want to own it from a fire safety standard and maintaining the exact same number of units, we had to just start over. We were really struggling to get fire access to the back of those sites. In addition, adding more parking spaces as well. Because it was built in 1964, there was not fire sprinklers when the building was built. So part of our redevelopment will also include fire sprinklers. The parking spaces that were mentioned, I believe there are 132 on site currently. We are proposing to add another 22 spaces, so providing 154. That's really in line with what we see in our existing portfolio. And so we see the average tenant needs about 1.2 to 1.4 parking spaces per household, depending upon what the unit mix is. This unit mix actually has quite a few 1 and 2 bedrooms and not as many 3 bedrooms. So it really kind of helps go with the 1.2 parking spaces per unit. Bringing this up to the current zoning categories, we also have several variances. Many of these are existing today. There's a few categories I wanted to point out where we're actually, while we still need a variance, we're actually making it better. One of which is the rear yard setback. Currently, we're 55 feet, and we're now taking it to 75.5. The code requires 118, so we're improving. It's still a variance, but we are improving what's there today. Parking is one of them that I've mentioned. Another one is the building driveway and parking spaces and lot coverage. I'm just going to kind of scroll through these. There's a lot of information, but happy to go back. But the driveway percentage, we're at max 70, we're requesting 79. Currently, it's at 84%. And then we're adding some trees and some landscaping that aren't currently on site. So many of the variances, the ones that are noted in red on both of these slides, are the property is already non-conforming. And we're doing our best in many cases to try to make some of them better. Here's some examples of our community amenities. We have many properties in the DFW area and many in Austin as well. I mentioned we'll have on-site management, community gathering space, we'll have a cyber lounge. Currently, there's not a really good community center. So we'll in addition to additional safety, we're going to be adding amenities for the residents as well, and a kids' playroom. And then here's our future existing rent comparison and future rent comparison, and then again, just showing the unit mixes that we have on site. And that is all. I'm here for questions.
Any questions for the applicant?
Hi, just a couple questions. You mentioned maintaining the current density. I didn't know if that was required by the application that was submitted. It seemed like some of the variances were driven by maintaining the density rather than, let's say, reducing the number of units by some amount. So
Sure.
Could you speak to that?
Sure, that's a great question. So the tax credit program that we're utilizing that will really allow us to be able to do this redevelopment. I mean, if I were to just go out and get conventionally financing, I would not be able to afford to buy an existing asset, tear it completely down, and rebuild it. So the tax credit program allows us to do that, and that's a federal tax credit, and there's a whole investment stack that we don't have to go into. But they have metrics that we have to hit. One of the metrics is if we are doing a rehab or reconstruction, they have to have at minimum 110 units. So it just was a kind of fluke that this property had 111. So the maximum that I can reduce my total number of units by was 1. And at that point, it didn't make a lot of sense when there was already 111 units there. But I think the question that you had during, I believe it was you during the meeting, what we are proposing today, the 111 units, has to match our final application with the state, which has already been submitted back in March. Yep.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad to see someone redeveloping that property. But what's going to happen with the tenants that's
Sure.
there now?
Great question. So because of the types of financing that we are using, we will actually have to look at what income bands they fall within and provide what's called URA, Uniform Relocation Assistance, based on where, and that's only if they're on site when we purchase the property. We will have to help them either temporarily or permanently, depending upon their situation. It's a big part of why these developments don't get redeveloped more, because that is a tricky part that we actually have to budget for.
Excuse me, hi. Did I catch that you're the owner also?
Yes,
Or,
ma'am.
Owner, like purchasing or owner now?
No, I'm not the
Purchasing.
owner now. We are buying it from somebody else.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
Well, that's amazing.
Thank
Good for
you.
you.
Any other questions?
Is the whole building going to be 3 stories all the way across, or is it going to go up and down, or?
Yes, we'll have some articulation from an architectural standpoint to make it more interesting, because right now it's pretty, it's 2 stories all the way across. There's not a lot of roof definition in the current structures. I skipped through some of the stuff that I have here, just in essence of time, but you'll see on our existing developments, this is a development that we have a lot of variation in height to give it interest and make it more architecturally pleasing. This was an old brewery that I tore down and saved the brewery tanks. But the 3-story height really became a requirement with us trying to consolidate. Right now those buildings are spread out across the entire 3 acres. And once you design the fire access, there's no way to keep that 2-story height and still getting the fire access through there. So that's really where that kind of came from. We looked at it in multiple ways.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you very much.
No problem.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? No? Then I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion, and we're currently still on just the first part of this, the comprehensive plan amendment number 10. So when our motion, that's what it relates to.
Mr. Chairman, if none of my fellow commissioners have any other comments, I'd like to make a motion for comprehensive plan amendment 2025-144 CP be forwarded to City Council for approval.
I second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. All right, and the motion passes unanimously. All right, item number 11, which is zoning case 2025-54-ZC slash the multifamily concept plan 2025-143-MFCP. Ma'am, I'm assuming you didn't have anything further to say on that one? All right, is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Then I'll return it to the commission.
If no other commissioner has anything further to say, I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2025-54 ZC to City Council for approval.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second recommending approval.
Question, do we need to include the
Oh,
multifamily concept plan also?
and multifamily concept plan 2025-143 MFCP.
Who had the second?
Second. Second.
It's- All right, we have a motion and a second for both of those recommending approval. All right, and the motion passes unanimously. All right, item number 12, zoning case 2025-58-ZC, located at 861 Hope Lane. Is the applicant present? Sir, would you like to come up?
Buenas noches. Good afternoon. Mi nombre es José Lazo y estoy aquí mi dirección es 861 Hope Lane, Irving, Texas, 75061. Estoy aquí porque construí un storage, extendí un porche y al extender el porche me di cuenta que podía extender un storage para uso personal.
So he says that his name is Jose Lazo, that he is representing zoning case 2025-58ZC for address 861 Hope Lane, Irving, Texas, 75061. My name is Jason Lazo. I'm his son. I'm going to be translating as best as I can for him. He says that the plan that we had was to construct a bit of a storage area, like a storage closet, off of our porch, extending off of the porch. And then,
Lo extendí con el propósito de convivir más en el porche, extenderlo más grandes, convivir más con mi familia y con el propósito de guardar mi herramienta en el storage.
he says that he started the construction in order to better facilitate the family with the increasing, I guess, age and number that our family has, and that he wanted to be able to free up space in the, specifically in the garage area, so that we can have more storage there for like cars and stuff, since my sister's going to college pretty soon. My brother is in college right now, and I've graduated from college, thankfully. He just wanted to make the area a bit more accessible for the family. I get more spacious for us, in a way.
Okay. Estoy aquí pues sé que cometí un error, pido disculpas, a lo mejor por no haber pedido el permiso antes, y pues quisiera ver si me obtienen, me dan el permiso para terminarlo, pues, porque no lo tengo terminado.
He says that he wants to ask for apologies. He wants to apologize for starting construction without any prior approval. He was unaware that an approval for that type of addition would be required, but that he's hoping that he can get approval in order to finish construction.
That's todo.
That would be all.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
Well, thank you for coming. Quickly, can you highlight what's the hardship if you don't get approval? How is it going to affect your life or living condition?
So right now, our current situation is that I have my car, my brother has his car, my sister doesn't have a car, she just got a job, she started working today. And the plan is hopefully, for her to go to college pretty soon, and of course, for her to start that chapter of life, she's gonna have to get her own method of transport. As we currently are right now, we have a lot of just stuff in the garage that we could honestly just move somewhere else, store somewhere else. And our hope was to make the storage area in order to move that stuff, and then free up that space in the garage so that we can put some cars there, store some cars there. That way we have free up space for my sister to park. That way she's not like parking in like the street or in front of the neighbors or something like that.
Thank you.
Any other, Commissioner Merrick?
Yeah, this is an extension to the existing house.
Yes, that is correct.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Then I'll return it to the commission.
I think that this is something that's norm there. All the houses around there have either detached storage units or have back patios. So when this development was done, 2006 or whatever it was, 2004, there was a lot of that stuff that people started adding on throughout the years. So I think it's a good fit for the neighborhood. It's not going to be nothing that stands out. It's close to the fence, but almost all them houses are like the same way.
I feel the same, so unless anyone has a further comment, I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2025 58ZC for approval.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Now, sir, just make sure you know, ours is a recommendation to the city council, so it still goes to the city council at their next meeting, of their meeting on July 10th. And so that, you'll want to go to that meeting in case they have any questions for you. But they have the final decision on it, but it'll go with our recommendation of approval. Thank you. All right. Item number 13, Comprehensive Plan Amendment 2025-64-CP, located at 251 O'Connor Ridge Boulevard. Is the applicant present? Would you like to speak on this and its companion item at the same time?
Yes, sir.
Great.
I'm Dixon Holman. I'm here representing Pate Dawson Engineers, the applicant in this case. We came to see you on May 5th and presented the case, so I'm just going to hit a couple of highlights, and then Mr. John Cadenhead, the architect, with Goree, will be up here to go through the balance of the presentation. Wanted to let you know, as we discussed at the last meeting, and you'd suggested, we have met with the neighbors. We had one meeting, as you may recall, that was just about a week before the planning zoning hearing because of some logistical issues that had taken place prior to be able to get the notices out. We had a meeting on June 10th, another on June 30th with various neighbors from different neighborhoods, including the Enclave, the Residences, Fairway Vista, The View, and there may have been some others, but I know those. Each of those meetings lasted a minimum of an hour and a half with lots of really good back and forth feedback. We were able to answer a lot of questions. We were able to get to a lot of the specific concerns that neighbors had or didn't have enough information to have an opinion on. And so anyway, that was something we felt like was really important, and so that's why we came back to you even prior to the following meeting after we had been here before and said, let's postpone it another month so we could get those meetings in, make sure we gave proper notice and opportunity. And we feel like those have been very, very productive. We have several folks who have said they're in favor. I know you've received, I think this afternoon it said there were 4 letters in your packet. I believe there's 6 that are in favor and 7 that you have that are opposed, all predated our first trip here. So all of those that have come in since have all been in support. So I just wanted to point that out. And we're looking forward to working with the neighbors. We've talked to them in detail about the way we're going to stage construction. We've talked about traffic. We've talked about height. We've flown drones at the top level, at the same height, and we've got some pictures of that hopefully made it in the presentation. We delivered a letter to you today that I hope you have this afternoon that I'm going to cut my remarks off here that just kind of goes back and points out some of the things I addressed the last time we were here so as not to take up the time. And if I can yield the balance, unless obviously you have questions, we'll certainly answer them. We have our engineers here with Pate Dawson as well, but otherwise I'll yield to Mr. Cadenhead.
Great, thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Hi, evening. I'm John Cadenhead. I'm speaking as the project architect. I think there's a way I can go through this presentation right here. And I'll just be here to just basically describe the physical.
In your address?
Oh, sorry, 5151 San Felipe, Houston, Texas, 77056.
Thank you.
So I would just like to take you sort of through the physical characteristics and the quality of the development. And then also go through some of the criteria from the staff as well. So this really speaks to the physical appropriateness of the property for residential use. We do believe that the size, scale, density is consistent with zoning rules in Las Colinas. It's about 5 acres, a little bit less than 5 acres, 76 homes, so a little bit less than 17 homes per acre. But orientation, size, vehicular access, certainly is appropriate physically for this use. Here's a list of those that I'm about to take you through. And, again, this is just a slide that's really just describing, all of those statistics. So it's an existing adaptive reuse of a commercial office building into 34 homes. And then next to it, a 14 level, some of those levels are below grade, but 42 home condominium, luxury condominium development next to it. That is a new facility right here built on the footprint of an existing parking garage, which has since been torn down by ownership as it was deemed unsafe and had indeed collapsed. This is addressing the proximity to residential land use. The building in question is right here, and so it is, certainly adjacent to residential use as outlined by the comprehensive plan. It is only separated by a local street, certainly not a major thoroughfare, and so it does indeed meet that criteria. We also wanted to illustrate that there would be no impact to commercial development supply. It's 100,000 acres and only 5 acres, 100,000 square feet and only 5 acres, so it's a very minimal impact to that commercial building supply. We also do believe that that demand has diminished significantly and really shifted the market just through, natural economic growth patterns in Las Colinas to really demand something more like what we're proposing here, which is executive luxury housing facility. This is a picture of the property showing the new residential building back here, 42 homes, about 4 homes per floor, and then the office residential conversion right here. This is an existing 3-level office building, showing how we plan to enter and exit the site is all from this side, lower on O'Connor Ridge Boulevard. We've added a couple of new access points right here. That is really for emergency vehicle access and just to enhance, from a fire code standpoint. We also want to show that there is a natural transition between our land use and the adjacent commercial land use, just through natural topography, mature tree growth, some screening that we've proposed, and some drives that we've designed into the property. Here it is with its location next to the golf course. And we also wanted to address some of the concerns. This is before our first meeting here. The concerns at that time were traffic. The change in zoning would significantly diminish the amount of traffic from commercial development to residential. Just a couple of pictures of the property. Sorry, I want to go through these really quickly because I know I'm running out of time. Again, just to describe the building, it is indeed 14 levels. Some of these levels are parking, and they are indeed below grade. This is the existing 3-story office building right here. There's a new parking structure back here, and most of it is below grade. The existing footprint is really not ideal for current office building trends, just from experience of designing, many commercial office buildings. However, it is an excellent footprint for residential use at 82 feet wide. Certainly would be Class B or Class C if it were to be reused as commercial development. Just a picture of the typical footprint, and then description of the size of the homes. These are 3,000 square foot average square feet. Most of these are 3-bedroom, 3.5 baths. Studies are included. This is just a picture of the typical floor. It's a 4-home floor, private elevator access, 3,000 square feet average home size. And there's the smallest home in that development. They get bigger, 4.5 bath, study, wine room, 4,500 square feet, and then the largest unit, again, a very luxury, quality type development. This is a picture of the existing office building, the adaptive reuse. We are going to reskin that building from the red brick, but definitely take advantage of the existing terraces. This is a picture of the new development. 4 homes per floor, again, 14 levels. Most of those are below grade. just a picture of some of the amenities that we are providing. This is a rooftop pool on top of the parking garage for the 14-level building, and then just some pictures of the just the interior spaces. I want to skip down really quickly to some new concerns that we are addressing from the community. So we were asked to provide some drone photography just to illustrate what this development would look like from the standpoint of visual security, mainly visual security from our building, and what the visual impact would be into the private areas of people's homes, their backyards, right? And we wanted to show this. This is an illustration taken from what would be a penthouse level. So we would believe 6 floors would have this type of view, so really 12 homes. And the visual impact into the backyards was minimal. And from my understanding, this was appreciated by the
You
by
have
the
1
community.
minute remaining.
Okay, thank you very much. I also would like to use this slide just to address some newer concerns that we've heard just in terms of, well, what's the impact going to be like just during construction, right? So I think that this kind of illustrates it as well. Looking at the existing 3-story building, if the zoning is allowed to change to residential use, we would be able to reuse this building. That's going to significantly minimize the impact of construction just in terms of time. Also, the building will naturally act as a sound buffer, a visual buffer to any construction. You can see here there's several areas for laydown yards in the foreground of this picture. You see the building right here, and the homes that would be impacted would be on the other side of this development. I also just want to say that it would be an environmentally just responsible, way to redevelop the project. And the change in zoning does allow us to reuse this building right here. Again, it's just not a building that's up to standards for current office, commercial building design. Likely for this property to have any use as a commercial development, this building would very likely have to be raised, meaning demolished and really started over again with a more appropriate Class A type facility. So we believe that we have the right solution for this property as 76 homes on 5 acres, 2 buildings with IM.
Great, thank you.
Open for questions.
All right, do the commissioners have questions to the applicant? Commissioner Reyes?
Yes, I do. Last time we spoke, we had mentioned community outreach for the neighborhoods. Did we do any of those for the surrounding neighborhoods?
Yes, again, as Dixon mentioned.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm not sneaking up on you. Yes, as I mentioned, we met. We had a meeting on June 10th and a meeting. These took place at the Las Colinas Association offices. We used the boardroom up there, and we had a meeting on the 10th and a meeting on the 30th just a week ago. And those meetings lasted over an hour and a half each, up to 2 hours. We had residents, some repeat, came to more than one, and then we had several who would be new at each meeting, so we would go back through everything. And we got lots of input, and we got lots of questions, and we tried to give extremely detailed answers and talk through what we're trying to do, what we're proposing, and what their concerns were. So the answer is yes, we did, and we've had lots of communication. A lot of people, several of the people, and there may be some here this evening, who came to the meetings actually were there on behalf of larger groups that they brought the information back to after they had met with us. And so, yes, we did.
Any other questions for the applicant? No, doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Very good.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Sir.
Hello, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I'm Brent Cherlino. I live at 4468 St. Andrews Boulevard in Irving, Texas. I'm actually within 200 feet of the project, and I'm also the president of the HOA for Fairway Vista. And just as a note, we have 154 homes and townhomes, dwellings in Fairway Vista, and our back gate also comes up against the project. I'd like to confirm that the development team did meet with us on June 10th and June 30th along with communication with some of the other HOA boards. And I'm not sure of the exact attendance, but there was quite a number of people there. And I'd like to compliment the development team on being very transparent, open, and with their discussions. They were engaging, they were informative, and they were transparent. So I've been also asked by the community to indicate our general support. However, we do wish to express at least a few comments. And as you're aware, the residence development is adjacent to our property, and that was approved, and it has had its challenges over the last 2 years in that there was some deviations from the plans that have resulted in issues with the homeowners. So I would like to just express some comments. One is there was discussion about the name of St. Andrews Residence, since a lot of us live on St. Andrews Boulevard. So hopefully there'll be some discussions about what the final name will be. Also, we'd like to make sure there's a final review and approval of the development plan so we know exactly what's being committed to, as we did not get a chance to do that with the residence development, and it's caused some issues with topography, drainage, erosion that's happening to the homeowners. We also want to know what the construction activity plan is going to be, just because it's going to address all three, the enclave, the residence, and our back gate entrances, which is on O'Connor Ridge, which hasn't had a lot of traffic per se other than the residents, and now we'll have new construction traffic. So that'll be temporary, but we'd like to know what that is. We also are concerned about the security issues. We've had some security issues there that have come off of 183, plus because that building has been vacant, there's been, whether it's animal activity or vagrant activity, and then while they're going to have material there, they'll probably draw interest. So we're interested in what the security is, because it's easy to get in the back of those communities. And then kind of reaffirming an ongoing commitment to meeting schedules during the construction period until occupancy. And I'd like to say the team has been pretty responsive, but we'd like to make this statement in front of the commission here so you're aware of how we are, but we are generally supportive, and I thank you for the time.
Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Yes.
Hi, my name's Derek Hill. I live at 4475 St. Andrews Boulevard, Irving, Texas, right near the back gate. So I see all the activity going and coming. I've been an Irving resident all my life. We moved into that neighborhood in 2002, so we've seen that building just go down and down and down. We've seen that O'Connor Ridge get more traffic from the enclave and from the residences. We'd like the city of Irving to deal with the road some, because it's kind of like, oh, it's a dead end road, so there's nothing. And we had a commercial development, small one that go in there that takes some of the traffic. We see a lot of cops down at the traffic stop sign. They love to write tickets right there. But I think my wife, I work in the film business, and I was overseas working on a film, came back. My wife, I think, was one of the first ones in opposition because we didn't know anything about it. She attended the first meeting, and I've attended the last two. So we did talk about St. Andrew's name. We talked about contacting the sports club, the Nelson Club, for access to the cart path on between 16 and the bridge, because we get a lot of people coming through our residents that live in the enclave and the view and the residents and that use our back gate. So we said that, and they're going to seek approval for that if they get this approved. But I think that overall they've shared all the information with us. I've shared it with anybody in our neighborhood that's asked for the information. They've been very forthcoming with the stuff. So I think that the change in our neighborhood has been, besides what Brent said, is more positive than it was negative in the beginning. And I think it would change the eyesore that's at the back gate that's been there forever, and the collapsed parking garage that was like, what, 5 years ago? So that's my take on it. Okay.
Thank you. Anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? Then I will return it to the commissioners for any discussion and a motion.
Mr. Chairman, if there's no other discussion from the fellow commissioners, I'd like to make a motion on Comprehensive Plan 2025-64CP be forwarded to City Council for denial.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending denial. Please vote. And the motion passes 5-3. All right, item number 14, which is the Development Plan 2025-65-DVP and Multifamily Concept Plan 2025-66-MFCP, again located at 251 O'Connor Ridge Boulevard. Sorry, you already spoke earlier, but was everything you needed to say earlier?
I need to ask if the previous case was denied for the comprehensive plan change, then that would not allow this, were it approved or not, correct?
So, yeah, just to clarify, so.
I mean, I understand they're two separate items.
Yes, and because we only do a recommendation on our end of it, it's
Right.
ultimately the city council. The city council prefers for us to go ahead and give a recommendation on both items.
Right, and-
That way, they have the option of, if they decide they want to approve, they can approve the comprehensive plan and then move
Right.
on to the second. But if
No,
you-
and as far as additional information, no, I mean, the only thing, clarification of we're 12 stories above ground, and that we again, we did meet with the neighbors, and you didn't hear opposition tonight, you heard support. So we feel like it's a good fit. And you know, again, and we don't intend to do this. What we want to do is this project, but commercial property isn't what it was before the legislative session ended. You know, commercial property now under SB 840 is a different animal, and we're trying to do you know, something that's PD that's for sale and you know, really high end, and that's what we think benefits this property today. So anyway, that's it, and we appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Then I'll return to the commission. And I just thought I'd make a quick comment, because nobody said anything earlier. The reason I'm voting against it is, well, one, the staff has recommended against it, but my main concern has to do with the height of the tower. That's really my biggest concern in regards to it. I understand your point about the change in commercial space and how that's changed, but I think ultimately that's a decision for the council if they want to see that kind of change in the way in which this property would be handled going forward. So, Commissioner,
I would agree with you on that, Josh. The height of the building in the back is where my biggest concern is
Yeah.
with everything. The front building, that's okay. The back building is where I see the issue.
yeah, Commissioner Ahmed?
Yeah, so I do share the concern about the height. I do think that this development and what their plans are is very well suited for that area and the needs for that area. We have more and more businesses and corporates coming in that area, so the demand is definitely going to be there. My biggest concern has been the height, as it has been for a lot of other folks as well. I just didn't see enough opposition about the height from the residents, and that's what kind of tipped me over. Because of that height issue, my vote would have been a no, but I did not see Any of them, even from the letters mentioning anything about the height, I think they did their due diligence. I'm not 100% satisfied, but I think the benefit outweighs the cons.
Commissioner Merrick?
Yeah, I applaud them for having the meetings with the residents and the residents coming back and saying that they had no issue with it.
Yeah.
Additionally, the condominium complex that's being built close to is it the Hyatt Regency? No, not the Hyatt, but the Ritz-Carlton
Yeah.
is pretty tall as well.
That was a mistake, too.
And some of us voted against that one, too. Commissioner Sanguino.
Yes, I'd like to add that I actually visited this area, and there are 4 commercial buildings. If you can pull up the map, there are 4 commercial buildings around that area on Fuller that I actually went into each one of them. And those buildings are office buildings. And they, at best, one of them was maybe 50% occupied. The other ones, maybe less than 30%. That means 70% like vacancy rate. So we are gonna deny a project for hoping that this is gonna turn into an office building, which it was, and it didn't work out. And the other ones right next door on Fuller, and they're not actually on their best what they look on the inside area either. I mean, so I don't see how people are gonna be occupying those spaces. There's, thousands of square feet available for lease in those buildings. So even there is one building I visited too, and it's a office building right there on 114 at the end of Fuller Road and 114. And actually that building was renovated. They put a lot of money into that building, and still I went into different floors and pretty vacant. So, I'm assuming the developer has done some of their due diligence to make sure that this is gonna sell. This is what they're gonna do. Sell these condos. And now we have some corporations and coming to Irving, such as Wells Fargo. And one of the complaints we hear a lot is like, people go to other cities to live. And now that we're being offered maybe a project where they can also live and be here, are we going to deny it, hoping that it's going to turn into an office building and that may get occupied when the other buildings are not? So that's actually one of the reasons why I'm in favor.
I would like to clarify my statement so the 2 commissioners to my left can understand what I'm saying. I don't think there's an issue, at least me personally, I don't have an issue with the existing building being renovated, the existing office building, no issues. I have an issue with the big one in the back that's going to go up 14-plus stories, and the people that have built around it and spent the money and everything else, and you're fairly new here. We had a lot of people come in and talk and everything else when they previously brought it to us. That's where I've always had my issues with the height. So renovating the existing building, I'm okay with. But when you start adding and you start going up, or keep it down to a certain point, decrease the density of it, and I could approve something like that.
I might say that I believe that the HOA president is the person who came last time, and they went to have meetings, and it looks like they are in favor of it, and of that, of this building. Also, based on prices or square footage, I guess, looks like we're talking about lowest price point around is $2.5 million condos. So the height is not an issue for the neighbors. traffic, I mean, I wouldn't be really concerned about traffic. People buy condos as second homes, third homes. So, I mean, if their neighbors are not really against it, and yeah, I don't know.
Any further discussion, or do we have a motion?
Mr. Chairman, I can make a motion for Development Plan 2025-65 DVP based on staff recommendations and the multifamily concept plan 2025-866 MFCP before the City Council with a recommendation for denial based on staff recommendations and the height of there.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending denial. Please vote. And the motion passes 5-3. All right. On to item number 15, zoning case 2025-145-ZC, located at 3431 Finley Road. Is the applicant present? Sir.
Good evening. My name is Trevor Hannes. I'm here on behalf of NCI Country Club, LLC. My address is 7700 Eastern Avenue, Dallas, Texas. Thank you for getting that up. Are y'all all able to see this? Okay. All right. Just wanted to go over the visual aspect of things, and my associate Jose here will go over some of the technical aspects of things. But the idea here is to bring 12 new businesses to this area that has sat vacant for nearly 2 decades, if I'm not mistaken. It's just been a grass plot that's been sitting there in the middle of the city of Irving, undeveloped. And our hope is to develop a campus-style business setting that brings 12 new businesses to Irving. These buildings in particular also cater to small business owners that are local, and it gives them office space to operate out of locally and grow their business. We've also worked continuously with Mr. Kenneth Bloom, who's not here this evening, but we've taken his feedback many times and worked well with him. And as you know, he's recommended approval for this along with his colleagues. And I think he shares the belief with us that this is something that's very positive for the community. And places like speech therapy, coffee, bakeries, floral design, e-commerce, et cetera, are what cater well to this type of building. We've also made a commitment to reduce and cap storage within these to 49%, mostly for the individuals and tenants who work out of these particular units to have their, whether it be inventory or what have you, that gives them ample enough space because each one of these is 2,000 square feet roughly as an office. So we want to give them enough space, but ensure that in the future, somebody doesn't just buy or rent one of these, and turn it into a storage facility, because that's something we're hoping to avoid and working with you guys and Mr. Bloom to do so. Also, just to give you a visual, this is the part of the building that faces Country Club Road. And we've been looking through the city's initiative with your mural program, as well as the fact that you guys have been awarded the Arbor Award and value trees and the murals very highly. And that's something that we want to bring to the table. And we think it'll bring a lot of beauty and enhance the great community that you guys have already established. So this would actually run throughout the entirety of the buildings facing Country Club. And it'll give a nice adhesive feel to what we're trying to do here. Here's just basically a side-by-side going along of what 4 units would look like. And like I said before, there's about 12 in total, so 12 new businesses to the area as well. That's generally what the interior would look like, and you would fit it out as an office space. This isn't an exact one-to-one, but it's something that folks can set up and work out of. And then the door there would go to your shop or what have you. And then here's the a more detailed concept as well. I'll hand things over to my associate Jose here. Thank you guys for your time.
Hello, y'all. Jose DePlon with Kimley Horn, located at 225 East John W. Carpenter Freeway in Irving, zip code 75066.
You do have about 1 minute remaining.
I guess we really wanted to cover a couple of the questions that were being pitched during the workspace or the meeting previous to this one. I think one of them was in relation to parking. Specifically, why were we looking to get the variances we were getting, at least in relation to parking? That's due to the fact that, as y'all could see, there's a pretty wide array of business types that could use these spaces. So we wanted to ensure that we were providing a variance that made sense for these users and would make sense for the full property as a whole, which was a challenge due to the fact that there's many different potential businesses and users here. Additionally, there was also some questions in relation to height. We wanted to make mention that adjacent to our property, and the location that we were planning on the self-storage, there is 3-story multifamily directly adjacent, and we are essentially at the low point of our property. We are about 12 feet lower at that location off of Finley Road than where Finley and Country Club actually intersect due to the natural grade out there. Any questions?
Commissioners, have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah, I do. So thanks for clarifying the storage, because I thought you all were trying to create additional storage, and the public storage facility is just down the street from that property. And thanks for developing it, because I used to live in that area, and it's been vacant for a long time. But my question was the mural that you all showed. So is that going to be facing Country Club, or are the businesses facing Country Club?
The intent would be for the rear of the businesses to be facing Country Club, so the murals would be facing Country Club.
And the front doors of the businesses, would that be in the interior?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So these are
How will you see the businesses? If you're driving down, because that street is it crosses over with Country Club and Finley and Story, all in that one point, but how would you see the businesses? I guess when I vision this, it looks like if I'm driving down Country Club, I'm just seeing the mural, and I don't know what businesses are there.
Hello again. Just to clarify, there would be a parapet extending above the mural, and that would allow signage for the business owner if they would like. But these type of businesses, what we've seen in the past is that they are mostly by appointment, just given the operators within. So it's not so much a space that is a shopping center, if you will. It's more so people operating within, and there will be signage available for them if they would like on the parapet facing Country Club Road. Does that clarify it a little bit
When
better?
I saw the picture for the coffee shop, I'm kind of wondering how somebody's going to know.
Oh, yes, ma'am. So
Or those are just pictures you're just sharing?
these are renderings to give you a concept, and that's why I put in the fine print up on the top left there that this isn't an exact one-to-one. Our associate Ozil here, he's the guy with the magic when it comes to the construction side of things.
That's some magic there.
So that was just a visual for you guys to give you a concept, because the asset class is a bit unclear at times, considering it's a newer side of things. But yes, when you're driving down Country Club, we've walked the site many, many times, and we've been out there, and it's a very high visibility space when it comes to signage on that parapet facing Country Club. And that is optional for the business, so they can advertise there if they would like, and if not, they don't have to put signage there.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What is your ratio to office to storage with these units?
At maximum, we are at 51% office and 49% storage for those individual leasable units.
So this is like a mini flex warehouse per se?
To a degree, yes, but like I said, there's use cases that we are allowing and restricting, and we worked with Ken and the rest of the committee to ensure that those use cases would be conducive to something that the city wants to see, and put limitations on things that you would not.
So can you clarify, is the storage for the tenants so that they have more storage? Or is this if I decided I needed more storage space for my personal property, instead of going down to public storage, I can come over here and rent space?
Yes, ma'am, that's part of it, but it is public storage at the same time. And this is a climate-controlled Class A asset when it comes to the storage facility on Finley. When you address the public storage that's below grade over there, was built many decades ago, non-climate controlled, single story, so it's a completely different asset when it comes to storage.
But then on Story and Walnut Hill, there's a climate-controlled storage place.
That's right.
Okay. So is this going to be for a retail, or is this going to be for storage? Or you're saying you're going to take 50% of it and be storage?
It's meant to be a hybrid between the two of them, but most of the acreage is set to be the small bay business side of things.
Hi, Aaron Crowley, also on the ownership side. I'm at 6510 Copper Creek in Dallas. Just to clarify, kind of two different situations. There will be a 75,000, up to 75,000 square feet self-storage facility that's on Finley Road. Separate from that, we'll have the 3 flex buildings that have the capped storage piece. So the capped storage piece at 49% will be for those business owners, and then there will separately be a self-storage facility.
So there's going to be 2 different buildings.
So there will be a total of 4 buildings. So 3 that are accessible from Country Club. Those are the ones that will have the mural facing Country Club with the signage above. And then separately on Finley, there will be a proposed 3-story self-storage facility located on Finley Road.
These are, it sounds like separate projects.
So it's all going to be connected. The intent would be to have the property manager for the self-storage facility also operate the commercial spaces in the other 3 buildings, which is part of the reason that it's set up to have the businesses facing inward, and there's also I'm not sure if we have it on the proposed concept plan, but there's an access road that comes in off of Country Club, runs the length of the site connecting to where the self-storage facility is located that exits on Finley.
And maybe this is more of a question for the staff. I don't see in what we have anything indicating that there would be any restriction on how much of this property could be used for self-storage.
So it's listed in the variance table for maximum of 75,000 square feet.
Okay, and that's the separate building that you're talking about?
Yes, that is the specific self-storage facility that would be located off of Finley Drive, or Finley Road. I would add that previously this entire property was taken through zoning and was fully approved and entitled for over 100,000 square feet of self-storage. So our goal here is to reduce the amount of self-storage. As you mentioned, there are some other storage facilities adjacent to and up the road. What we would like to add here is that there's a fairly low supply of high-quality new product that's been delivered in the area. The public storage next door has been around for 30-plus years. It's all non-climate, drive-up, somewhat disrepair. I'll add, I don't believe that they have a full-time on-site manager. I think it's mostly run via kiosk. What we would add with our storage facility would be a manager there during office hours from approximately 9 to 6, 6 days a week. So it'd be adding additional site staff that would help oversee what's going on in that area.
Real quick, so you said that's the separate storage building, and then in your retail side or your office space, there's additional storage space for the tenants, is that correct?
So the way it would lay out is you'd have about 2,000 square feet per bay. And as it's going to be delivered, it'll be a dark shell. And it'll allow for the tenants to come in and fit it out as they would see fit. What we're proposing is, limitations on and restrictions on what those uses can be to prevent people from coming in, leasing out multiple units, using it just for warehousing space. What we're wanting to do is cap that at a maximum of 49% that can be used for that additional storage, so that it still allows for the majority of the space to be used as professional office space, some storefront and retail.
So not necessarily for the tenants of these businesses, those could be separate leases who can use that space for just as a storage unit?
No, it would be for the business users.
But the businesses that you're proposing are mostly destination business that wouldn't traditionally require storage.
Well, that's true. So what we're looking to do is cap the amount of storage possible. We're not looking to isolate or restrict the users to use 49% of the space as storage. So, for example, if someone wanted to come in and offer the speech therapy, they could use the entire space for speech therapy and not use it for any storage. What we wanted to do is restrict that use so that you didn't have somebody who is operating a 100% e-commerce and restrict 10% of the space for an office and have 90% of it as just warehouse and have trucks in and out.
Thank you.
Sure.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Just to clarify what you're saying. Basically, you're going to build a 3-story storage facing Finley.
Correct.
Self-storage, which is separate from these other 3 buildings.
That's correct.
These 3 buildings, you're going to put together approximately 2,000 square feet. You're going to regulate office. They're 2,000 square feet per unit.
That's right.
You're going to regulate the warehouse to roughly about 1,000 square feet, 980, whatever it is, break to 49%, and you're going to regulate the office to 1,000. So that way they're not turning it into a commercial, industrial type atmosphere, and you're not going to allow the buildings to be combined together.
That's correct. And part of the reason that we're pursuing it in that manner is that in our conversations with the planning department and with Ken, we wanted to avoid this turning into a warehouse development, right? The initial feedback that we received was, well, why, if you're wanting to do, flex or small bay, why wouldn't you go through a commercial warehouse? And our feedback was those aren't users that we're targeting, and those aren't users that the people in the community would want to be around. And so we wanted to bring in businesses that are generally low impact. As Trevor said, it's going to be mostly appointment only. Some of these that are up there, the coffee roasters is less of a coffee shop, more of a coffee roasting company. So there'd be places that are lower impact from a traffic standpoint, as well as trying to restrict the uses out that don't really fit this part of Irving.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? I'll return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
If there's no other
Well, it looks
discussion.
like Commissioner Ahmed.
Okay, go ahead.
Go.
No,
I was
I'll
gonna make
let you-
one
I'll
motion.
let you do it, sir. Go ahead. You got it. I'll second you. How about that?
Either way.
Well, I don't know about that.
I'd like to support the recommendation of the staff for zoning case 225-145ZC. Recommend to the council for approval.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 6-2. All right, on to item number 16. Zoning case 2025-166-ZC, located at 105 South Main Street. Is the applicant present? Sir?
Hello, everyone. My name is Hassan Bozostan, 105 South Main Street, Irving, Texas, 75060. Owner of the Dear Rosanis restaurant. So I took over this place almost 9 years, running in this downtown fine restaurant, family owned. So since then, most of them are my customers, still being customers also. Thank you so much for supporting us. So since over 9 years, I try to make so many improvements at my restaurant, trying to draw more people my restaurant, and also make downtown Irving beautiful. So while waiting so long applying the beer and wine license, I guess it wasn't timing. Now it's timing to apply the liquor license. Just try to draw more people downtown Irving and need more loyal customers. So serving the quality food and keeping that quality so long, I think we survived pretty well because of COVID and other construction in downtown Irving. So we made it. So now I need a beer liquor license to continue serving nice and quality food. And also, I'd like to present one more supportive letter receiving from my customer also. And also, I have a supportive person who wants to speak out. Thanks so much for your timing.
Okay. Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
I do have one question. This at one point was apologies, was it BYOB at one point?
BYOB, yes, and now we like to turn into beer and wine liquor license also.
Awesome, thank you.
And you're aware that no matter, if it's my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, no matter what the outcome is today on this, you're still going to have to go back on the 250 feet door-to-door issue with city council?
Well, I'd love to go there because we didn't know that there was a church over there, so we made a measurement. So we made a survey and also distance. We came out, it was a requirement we were passed.
Okay.
So later on, we found out there's a church. I have supportive letter, and the person is here, owner of the building, and also the pastor also supporting our restaurant that's serving the beer and wine license. So I think serving the beer and wine license, we hope that will not affect negatively the public health.
Commissioner Mir?
If there's no other questions, I'd like to make a motion.
And also, I'd like to invite my supporter.
I need to do the public hearing part.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great. Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item?
Hi, how you doing? My name is Raymond Yarber. I live at 1409 Rendy in Irving, Texas, 75060. I own the property at 132 West Irving Boulevard, 142 West Irving Boulevard, 126 East Irving Boulevard. So I like to see stuff happen in this area. We need this. We need this kind of stuff in this area. He's got a great place to eat at. I've had lunch there many times. Good, clean place, great food. So I think this would help his place. I'm for anything that's positive in an area. And so, thank you very much.
Mr. Yarbrough, do you own the former pigeonhole that the church is in right now?
It's 132 West Irving Boulevard. Yes, I own the property there where the little church is right now.
Okay. Does the tenant have any issue with it? Have you talked to the tenant or anything?
Have
you talked to the tenant or your?
I talked to his son-in-law, put it that way. I haven't talked to the pastor. He's been out of the country.
Okay.
So I've been waiting for him to get back in. I called and left my message, but he hadn't called me back.
Okay.
But yes, I own the property and I rent to him month by month. Not, he hadn't got a lease with me or anything like that. It's just month to month.
And you're fully in supportive of this?
I'm totally supportive of all this, you bet. We need this in this area to help it grow. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? I'll return it to the commission.
If there's no further questions, I'll make a motion for zoning case 2025166ZC be forwarded to City Council with the recommendation of approval.
Second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. All right. Item number 17, zoning case 2025-169-ZC, located at 2432 West 6th Street. Is the applicant present? Sir.
Hello, my name is Brian Bowles. I live at 2432 West 6th Street in Irving, Texas. You guys had a lot of questions, so I'll answer them. But let me get everything pulled up. I handed out packets to everybody. I want to make sure you have it. I'll just start from the beginning. Moved there about 10 years ago after getting out of the military with my wife and kids. We were on the corner of 6th and Westbrook, and it was only a two-way stop. And over the years, people just speed and speed and speed and speed. And about 5 years ago, there was a fatality of a motorcycle going about 95 miles an hour down the street, hit a car that ran the stop sign, and his bike almost flew into my house. The guy died on scene. And as you can see in the paperwork, there's the fatality, and then I also took pictures. About 2 years ago, I had the money to do the retaining wall and extend the driveway. I did put a footing and reinforced bars and dowels. I know you guys had some questions about the structure of it. So I did do that. And I didn't know I needed to get a permit. Everything was in the bounds of my property line to do so. And it also mitigated the risk of parking on the street. I have pictures. Lots of pictures. Sorry. Too much stuff. Here's some pictures here. I have been hit 3 times parking on my street in front of my house. The street is just too narrow and there's nowhere to park. Being in a single driveway with the SUV and a truck, my vehicle parked in my driveway as a single is out of code because it sticks out into the sidewalk. That's a code violation. So I took all these matters into my own hands to protect myself and my family at night while we sleep so we don't die. It is a life safety concern. I'm open for questions.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
Yeah. Could you speak more to how the retaining wall and driveway was constructed? Did you hire a contractor? Is it part of your background?
I have a little bit of background in it, but yes, I hired some contractors to do the work and did everything by the book. Dowels, reinforced bars, footing, everything, vertical and horizontal reinforced rebars.
So one question, so when you hired the contractors, they didn't say, I need to go over to the city and get a permit?
No. And then as far as the approach with the width, 90% of the houses on my street are out of code with their approach. And I know mine with the 10-foot setback, you can't pull a truck in there if you do the 10-foot setback. Like I can't get in and out, so it defeats the purpose. And then where I park my truck on the corner, I can't pull back all the way in there. It's not wide enough because I stopped it on the property line, so I just parked my truck as far as I can inside the corner.
What year did you do this in?
About 2 years ago? About 2 years ago? About. And as far as the fence, I put the fence in about 9 years ago. The guy behind me has drug use, and police have been there present within the last year. So I did that a long time ago. Also, my kids' bedrooms are back there, and I don't want people looking in. And then for the 6-foot fence rule with the existing 2-foot retaining wall, I have a dog. The dog will jump the fence. So it just created privacy and safety for my kids and my dogs.
Hey, how long have you lived in that house?
10 years.
Okay. For staff, how did we come about this case?
It happened a couple months ago. The original ding was from the building enforcement, was my driveway approach, was my width was not the same size as my driveway. And I think it's because the guy down the street had his front yard tore up for like 6 months and somebody called and complained. Don't really know, but last week my family and I walked down the street. I have over 20 signatures of my neighbors in support of this, and nobody has a problem with it.
Any other questions for the applicant? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? All right, then I'll return it to the commission for discussion and a motion.
I still got questions for city staff, especially traffic, because he's the one that's going to be handling this. So is there a way that if we approve these variances, that we can bring him into compliance and still be safe for the neighborhood? Cody?
Yeah, so I did look up what my manual says and what the ordinance says. So as far as the access management manual goes, on this subject, it says driveways may flare to a greater or lesser width within the property, private property beyond the end of the approach. So that is my manual. So what I think building was looking at is section 4.4.9 C1B of the Unified Development Code. And it says the drive approach shall be the same width as the driveway for a minimum distance of 10 feet from the street side property line. So.
And that's what we are being asked to give a variance on.
Correct.
So if we gave a variance on that, or rather council did, then it would not be a problem for him. That provision would not be a problem.
Quick question for Cody. Sorry. So given that is being used as a driveway and then the radius that's right there, is there a safety concern with the resident backing out there or bringing the car out, given how close it is to the intersection and that radius?
Well, like I says, from our standpoint right now, he did not touch the approach. The approach is existing. It does not meet current standards. However, it was in place prior to the approval of our manual. So therefore, in our eyes, it is a grandfathered driveway. So we're not going to ask him to change his approach.
If there's no further discussions amongst the commissioners, I move to zoning case 2025-169-ZC to be moved to the city council for approval and figure it out from there.
Second.
All right, we've got a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. Now, sir, it still does go to council, so you'll still want to, it's scheduled July 31st is that council meeting. And they have the final decision.
Can I ask a question? All the stuff that I gave y'all, will they have that, or do I need to bring more copies?
Or if you have a way, is he able to submit it and it end up in their packet?
Yeah, you can email it all to us, and then we can load it into their council packet, so it's up to you what you want to do.
But getting it in advance is always helpful because then there's a chance to review it before the meeting. So no, I understand, and we do the best we can, but just since you have the chance for the council, I'm sure they'd appreciate it. All right, thank you. All right, on to item number 18, zoning case 2025-173-ZC, located at 8350 North MacArthur Boulevard, Suite 120. Is the applicant present? Sir.
Good evening.
Evening.
So, my name is Satish Komana, and I'm living 10328 Merchant Lane, Irving, Texas. So, this is a new upcoming bar, sports bar and restaurant. We are opening in 8350 North MacArthur Boulevard, Suite 120. So, this zoning case was approved back in March for the with the liquor permit from the city of Irving. So at the time of approval, we had a seating capacity for only 65, and then we requested to the additional seating, 25 more seating. That means we need 10 more additional parking spaces. So we have plenty of parking spaces available in that site plan. So most of the business hours are evening hours, since it's a sports bar and restaurants, and we have a permit till 2 a.m. So our business is mostly in the evening time from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. or 11 p.m. So and I do have my next tenants. I spoke with them, and then I do have a no objection letter from the our next tenant, I Love 4 restaurant. Usually they close at 7:30, and this is a no objection letter from him. Actually, he had an approval from the city, 124 124 seats, 126 seats, I think, they assigned from the city, but he is using only 94, and he submitted his seating layout as well here. And this information I emailed to the planning and zoning earlier, like a couple of months back, and then they asked me to approach this zoning case. So then I had to go through this case again. So this is a no objection letter from my neighbor. So apparently, so he is not using 26 additional. Basically 26 seats he is not even using it, so that means 10 parking spaces are not being used by him, and this is what that's the reason why he gave this no objection letter as well. So we do have, and I do have my next tenant here as well. They don't, since our business hours are evening hours, and I request to consider this variance to the council. Thank you. If you have any questions, I'm okay to answer.
Great, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant? Commissioner Ahmed.
You do have other evening-based businesses there, still there, right? How about the hookah lounge that's over there?
There is only one. There is some hookah bar, but that is less than 1,000 square feet space. I think they have only, I don't know how many parking exactly, but it's ours is a 3,000 square feet sports bar and restaurant. And theirs is around less than, I think, 1,200 square feet. And even though the I Love 4, they have, it is only 2,700 square feet, but they got 126 seats approval. So ours is 3,200 square feet, actually. So.
Thank you.
What's the overlap in hours between your restaurant and this restaurant that you have the letter from?
Usually their business ends at 7 p.m. the night. I mean, 7 to 7:30 p.m.
They close at 7?
7:30. Usually 7:30 onwards, nobody will come. I mean, there is no much business. It's they close us at 7:30.
What are your hours?
Ours is 12 to 12, afternoon 12.
PM to
12 p.m. to, no, 12 p.m. to 2 a.m. in the midnight. Sorry.
You said 12 PM to 2 AM?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and what time do they open?
They open from 11 a.m. in the morning and close at 7:30 to 8 p.m. Only daytime.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't get that. You said they open at 11 AM?
11 a.m. in the morning and they close at 7:30 in the evening.
And they close at 7:30. So during that time, there's overlap with your
Yeah, but our business is mostly not in the daytime. The sports bar, mostly the crowd will come only from evening 6 p.m. onwards.
So you don't usually use your capacity?
Yeah, on the daytime, yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Commissioner Ahmed?
Yeah, so just for clarification, that I Love Fa is open from 10 a.m. till 8 p.m., and they start closing after 8 p.m. Those are their posted hours on their website.
Yeah, I think.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? And I'll return it to the commission. Any discussion? Or do we have a motion?
Well, if there's no discussion, I'll move for zoning case 2025-173ZC to recommend approval.
A second.
We have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. All right, on to item number 19, Special Fence Plan 2025-178-SFP, located at 506 Collins Drive. Is the applicant present? Sir.
Good evening, everyone. Let's see. My name is Tobin Craig at 2209 Dyer Drive, Hazlet, Texas, 76052, with Special Fence Plan 2025-178 SFP at 506 Collins Drive. I'm here to answer questions and make a note on behalf of my client, Teresa. She is asking for your understanding. Her and her husband, who recently passed away, built a new home with a different orientation. Previous property was faced West 5th Street. Her new home now faces Collins Drive. She is looking for this exception to improve her safety and security, being now alone on a busy road. Thank you.
All right. Please hold up a second, just in case people have questions. Do any of the commissioners have questions to the applicant? No? Okay, it looks like you're off the hook.
Thank you.
All right. Anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Sir.
Stephen Aguirre, 1630 West 6th Street, and Sonoa, 1630 West 6th Street. We are actually on the east side of that property line, with all due respect to Mrs. Shiplett-Loss. The original owner, Mr. Shiplett, which I believe was her father-in-law, did not have hedges on his fence. He always kept the yard lined, the trees lined, everything's good. When he passed, his daughter took over, our granddaughter stayed there, and she planted hedges all around the fence with an understanding between us and them that she would keep them at 4 foot, which is the height of the chain link fence, which is fine. Coming out of our driveway, there's no way to see around that blind curve with anything taller than that. These hedges now extend almost 6 feet high, probably higher, and now they want to put a solid wood fence around the property facing 6th Street and 5th Street where that blind curve is at. We're not going to be able to see. We hardly see now. At night, we get glimpses of headlights coming out when we're backing. It makes it easier. But in the daytime, we usually have to come out 8 foot from the front of the sidewalk to even see some of the road, 15 feet to be able to get the car out before we're getting hit or near miss by a vehicle coming down east on 6th Street. It's just not safe. It's not a safe condition for anybody. It's a blind curve, and a fence does not need to be that. And all due respect, it's for, I believe, a recreational vehicle. If there was another way to do it, it's not. It's just not a safe condition to have a fence there. The hedges are too high. The trees hanging over, it's a dangerous position coming out of the driveway with speeds exceeding 30 miles an hour. She's been in an accident there already, so it's a dangerous situation. So we're opposing the fence.
Thank you. Okay, ma'am, would you like to come up?
Hi, I'm Teresa Shiflett. I live at 506 Collins. I know the hedges have gotten really high and really thick. That's because I have not had time or chance or money to have them trimmed. They would be trimmed down to the size of the fence. The fence can come in several feet to allow for them to see better. I'm willing to do that. I don't wish to do the 15 feet that was first recommended, because if that happens, I'm going to lose about 500-year-old post oak trees. Now then, the fence is only going to be 6 feet, which is only 2 feet higher than the one that existed, and I understand that it is harder to see with the shrubs. I do plan on trimming those back, trimming them way down, and we can come in. I know part of the fence close to my house, they've recommended to come in 5 feet. We can do that all the way down, and I can still hopefully maintain the shrubs. They would be on the outside of the fence, but we would keep them down. If you came in 5 feet to where that corner is, there would be ample sight around that blind curve to see, to be able to get out. I believe the reason it's blocked so much right now is because they're overgrown, and I just have not had the time and money over the past several months to get that taken care of. In addition to losing my husband, I lost my father within 2 months of losing my husband, and I've been kind of a little bit busy. So if I can get those trimmed down, I believe it would help, because I have seen to where it is blocking their view, and I will work to get that trimmed down. But I don't think the 2 feet above the chain link fence is going to make that much of a difference if those are trimmed back. I believe they would be able to see just fine. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
I have a question for her.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes, I'm sorry.
on their side where that fence comes down, you said you're willing to move it in 5 feet to give them more of a line of sight.
Yes.
Are you willing to clip your back corner
Yes.
where that way they can be able to see more as they're coming out, so it's not squared off on them? You can clip it
Yes,
back.
it is actually rounded. I don't know that it's completely squared off. I believe it is rounded. If not, it can
Well, you
be,
could clip
yes.
it at an angle that would give them more of
Yes.
a view of line of sight when you clear the trees, and then they get 5 feet.
Yes. I have looked at it, and it is quite overgrown, and I apologize to them that that has not been done yet.
So you'd be willing to do something like that?
Yes.
Okay.
I just would like to not come in the 15 feet at first recommended.
I understand.
Because I'm going to lose a lot of trees, which to me is an environmental impact.
I understand.
Yes, I am willing to
Can I
do
ask a
that.
question of the person?
Just a second.
Go ahead.
Let's her finish. All right.
Yes, I'm willing to do that. You're welcome.
Oh, sorry. Another commissioner has a question for you.
Okay.
Do you anticipate when you would be able to cut the trees back and cut the shrubs back. and
I'm
get it
hoping to get
corrected.
that done. I'm trying to get it scheduled, hoping to get that done within the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Great. All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
All right. Sir, if you don't mind coming back up, I think there was a question for you.
Are good, Josh?
Go ahead.
Okay. You heard what I asked the
Correct.
the owner. Are you okay with that?
If-
If she cleans backs the fence off 5 feet, so it's not right up against it, so it gives you a line of sight,
If she,
clears the
if she
debris?
would come back 5 feet and then clip that corner,
Yeah.
just coming out of the driveway, that would increase the view on that blind curve a lot.
And you'd be okay with that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It would improve your line of sight now, wouldn't it?
Correct. It would right now.
Okay. Okay.
Commissioner Pritchard was asking me a quick question in terms of the procedures, and so I missed y'all's discussion, but I really did want to hear what.
So basically, I asked him if he would be okay with her moving the fence in off the property line 5 feet, going to the back, clipping the corner at an angle, so that way he could prove their line of sight when they back out, and removing the shrubs and the debris in that 5 feet. And he said he would be okay with that. She's okay with that, so.
Great. Okay. That's what I
Everybody's
was-
happy.
That's what I was hoping. I just wanted to make sure that,
Now we just have to
That'd be-
sort of state that depending upon.
As part of a recommendation.
As part of the recommendation.
okay, great, thank you. Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor or in opposition to this item? All right. Sure.
Just to kind of clarify a little bit, the main reason for the fence is not because of an RV or a travel trailer that we have parked there. The main thing is safety for my sake, now that I am by myself. And there is a lot of loud, fast traffic that comes down round that curve. As soon as they hit the end of that curve, it's a straight shot to Story, so it's a lot of dragging. So that's the main thing. It's not for the RV, it's for my safety. Just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then I will close the public hearing and return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion. Yeah.
If there's no other, from the commissioners, no other discussion, I'd like to approve Special Fence Plan 2025-178 SFP with a 5-foot variance off the property line, and in the back facing the neighbor's property, a clipped corner to open up the line of sight, and for her to remove the shrubs in the 5-foot to
Or
increase.
cut the shrubs down, you mean?
Cut the shrubs down for line of sight.
I second.
Move it to city council for approval.
Second.
All right, we have a motion with some conditions and a second. Recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. Ma'am, it does still go to city council, and it's scheduled for the July 10th meeting, so very soon. And so then they ultimately have the final decision on it. So, you all as well. But it'll go with the recommendation of those modifications that we've discussed. All right, item number 20, zoning case 2025-180-ZC, located at 2233 West Biscayne Drive. Is the applicant present?
Good evening. My name is Megan Newman. I live at 2233 Biscayne Drive, Irving, Texas, and I am the property owner. And we are planning on doing an addition onto our home, a master suite and an office addition, and we're asking for a variance to the rear setback to reduce it to 10 feet to allow us space to build on that addition. My husband currently works at home in the dining room, and we have 3 young boys, 5 years and younger, with another one on the way. And, sorry, another one on the way. I'm pregnant. Get a little teary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we'll have 4, and he works in the dining room, which you can imagine being on customer calls is quite stressful for him and for the children. And yeah, so we just ask for a variance to that rear setback so we can continue to enjoy our home. We have no neighbors behind us. Our house backs up to Running Bear Park, which we love, and we hope to be able to stay in the home for a long time.
Thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant? Doesn't look like it. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Then I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
If there's no further discussion, I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 202518ZC. Recommend approval to council.
A second. Okay, we have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. And ma'am, yours is scheduled for the July 31st city council meeting. So we've had 2 different meetings being talked about this evening, just so you know. All right, item 21, zoning case 2025-186-ZC, located at 3601 Regent Boulevard, Suites 140 and 150. Is the applicant present? Sir.
Good evening, all. This is Dilip Daruru, and I reside in 15769 Fleet Leaf Road, Frisco, Texas, 75033. And we have leased this space a year ago, and we have already started our business back in February, and we have been getting recommendations and considerations from the customers that they're flowing in more, and we needed more space for the seating. So we have also leased out the space right next to us and wanted to expand our seating space. So we are not expanding our kitchen, we are not expanding off any of that space, but we would like to expand our seating space, and which is still under consideration and staying within the variance of whatever the approved are. We are not changing any of that. We are just changing the seating. So that is all we have.
Great.
And open to the questions.
All right, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have questions for the applicant?
I thought this was for RAB, though.
It is, because the current one is in the RAB and the adjacent one is not in RAB. So if we wanted to combine that with the existing restaurant, we need to have the same zoning for the both. So that was a reason for getting that rezoning.
Okay, so this is for RAB.
Yeah.
Okay.
The current existing restaurant is under SP1 RAB, and the adjacent space is on SP2. So when we wanted to combine them both, they have to both lie in the same zoning. That is the reason for this.
Any other questions for the applicant? No? Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? And I'll return it to the commission for any discussion and a motion.
If no other commissioner has any feedback, I'd like to make a motion for zoning case 2025-186 ZC for City Council for approval.
Okay, we have a motion for approval. Do we have a second?
A second.
We have a second. Please vote. And the motion passes unanimously. All right. On to item 22, zoning case 2025-187-ZC, located at 500 West 6th Street, 721 and 722 Rindy Street, and 712, 718, and 802 Hilltop Drive. Is the applicant present? Or I guess this is the one for the city.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Michael Smith. I represent the developer, D.R. Horton. My address is 6548 Fisher Road, Dallas, Texas. Oh, perfect. So we do have a slide deck put together. This encompasses all of the site plan, what we're going for with the Heritage District zoning, neighborhood mixed use. I'm available for any questions.
All right. Do the commissioners have any questions for the applicant?
I do. Hello. Do we currently have a price point or how many development there's planning? I'm just out of curiosity on like the development plan.
Yeah, so we're looking at a maximum of 76 single-family homes on this development. Prices is going to be between the mid-3s and mid-400s, 400,000. Square footage bands are going to be around, I think the minimum in the DA is 1,000 square feet, but we're going to be around 1,000 to 2,200 square feet for the actual development, so.
When would we plan on developing?
So once we get through, if we're approved tonight, we go to council on the 10th and we get approval, we'll be submitting for our preliminary plat approved in August of 2025. That will then kick off all the civil plans. I would say next summer would be whenever we get under development for horizontal, and I would assume summer of 27 for going vertical with actual homes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Other questions for the applicant?
Oh, I do want to actually, so no, it's not a question, it's more so a comment. Initially, I was like not thinking this, I was thinking that I'll just make the comment that I'm glad to see new development and also at a reasonably priced point, just with, today's market. And so I would just say thank you for that. And so now I'm more so on like yay for the plan and the development.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
No other questions? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in favor of this item? Anybody in opposition? Sir. Are you able to come either to the microphone here or over there?
There's one closer to you, sir. You don't have to come down.
Not yet. The microphone doesn't seem to be on yet. Hold on one second, sir.
He just has to unmute it. Okay, try it now.
Good evening.
Much better. Thank you.
My name is Darrell Nealon, N-E-L-O-N, at 505 West 8th Street, Irving, Texas, 75060-5218. I reside on the south side of the gentleman's D.R. Horton's property development that's in the plat that I got the notice of. And I'm kind of like one of the sheep that's in the dark, to where the zoning that I see on the little platform that they gave us notice of, I'm directly at the edge of his most southerly development. And I was just concerned, is it going to be all housing, car repairs, 2-story, 3-story. I'm just in the dark of things. I have no problem with going forwards and helping people have a nice homes. I just don't know at what point does it go. I have a 6-foot board-on-board fence. Is that not going to be enough privacy for me with 177 homes, something dead on my back porch? Or will they have a more of a privacy, 6-foot with an extended privacy of some sort? Or they're 2-story homes or what? So I can live my 48, I've been there since 1988. I own the home outright, and I liked it because it was a nice little forest. It reminded me of my grandfather's down on West Fork Trinity River with 750 pecan trees on it. I'm country from the word go. And I just didn't want to wake up in a culture shock with something all new and improved. And that's all I got to say. And I thank you for listening.
Thank you, sir. Sir, yeah, if you wouldn't mind coming up, and if you could answer those questions, we'd appreciate it.
Hello again. If we could go through the slide deck, I think that would help give some.
Yeah, you're able to on the keyboard. Yeah, slide out the keyboard, and then
There we
I think
go.
the arrow keys,
Thank
you're able
you.
to control it.
Okay. Sir, as you can see, with this site development, we are providing ample open space to try to buffer from any existing homes.
Oh, I don't interfere you, I'm sorry. You see your 4 yellow squares on the lower of the page?
Right here?
Yes, okay. I am number, not that one, that one.
This one right here?
That's me.
Yes, sir. So we are providing ample open space to try to buffer from any existing homes, as well as there's a comprehensive plan for screening to go into place
Yes, sir.
for your home. To answer your question on the units, there's 76. And as far as parking goes, each residence will have a required 2-car parking garage. So we have 2 cars per 76. That'd be 152 parking spots, along with 60 parking stalls off-street. So that'll be 212 total parking spaces for this development for 76 homes. Stories, yes, all of these will be 2-story. At this time, we're not planning to do any 3 stories. 2-story is the highest we're going to be going to.
Everything's 2-story.
Yes, sir.
That's going to be over and above my tree line. The trees, but the forest has been cut back. It's closer now than me to you.
Sir, would you please speak into the microphone, please?
Sorry, I'm sorry.
You're okay.
The tree, what do you call it? Variance blocking privacy is shorter than me to you, to where it's all open space, where it looks like a construction zone with probably 25 or 30 vehicles sitting back there. And then the next one, I know you're familiar with a piece of property, there's 2 of them back to back there. It's just in lieu of something to happen, and I didn't know what was going to happen. 2-story is not my cup of tea without some kind of privacy there.
Yes, sir, and we can take that under consideration for your property on the back side. This will be the side of the house. This will not be the front or back. The openings allowed on the side of the house for this product with a 0 lot line product is very regulated, so there's only a certain amount of breakage on the side of each home.
The 4 in the lower yellow, green area?
Yes, sir. So these 4.
That's part of your buildings?
Yes, sir. These 3 lots.
And the 4 over here on the other? Those as well?
Yes, sir. These
All
are
of them?
all the side of the homes.
All 2-story?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Will the one that you're pointing to and the first one, closest to me on the right-hand side, or the left rather, are those covered with windows on the two-story side to where, or do I get, like, for instance, on, I believe it's Larry Street? On Larry Street, there's no windows on between the houses, so they don't have privacy problem between two-story, this guy looking into that guy's per se.
Yes, sir. And so with
That
this
would-
current plan, it looks like there will be some windows on the side backing up to your property.
Yes,
On the other side of this, there will not be, since that is on the zero lot line side.
that would be, this side would fix my problem. The other side would be, I understand, problem for the homeowners as well.
And we can take that into consideration as we're
Okay.
going through the preliminary plat process.
Yes,
as well.
sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you both.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else who'd like to speak in opposition to this item? And sir, was there anything further you needed to say in response?
Sorry, I was just going to actually go through that slide so you could see a picture of these homes. So these are all rear entry homes, 2 stories with multiple different elevations.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. I'll close the public hearing, and I'll bring it back to the commission for discussion and a motion.
Thank you,
Well, I'd like to just offer a few comments that, I mean, this is ultimately going to be for city council to decide, and it looks like this is part of a broader plan, phase 3 of a development, but it does strike me as, it's a fairly dense project right next to the Delaware Creek. I've heard city council talk about developing city property near waterfronts into more public uses. I don't know if this plan is already locked in. I don't have the history for that, but I have concerns about the placement and the density, so it's difficult for me to support.
Commissioner Reyes?
I'll just also mention that although initially I did think it was dense and I was a bit skeptical on taking away that green space, although thinking of the downtown Irving Heritage District and seeing that the Imagine Irving Comprehensive Plan does make for walkable community and living, I do feel that it would be a good addition and would be in support of those businesses and surrounding businesses around there, retail spaces.
Commissioner Lightfoot?
I think this is a good fit. This is something that's been going on for a while. The city's planned it, years and years and years ago. They purchased these properties. They put in Phase 1, Delaware 1. It works. They put in Phase 2, Delaware. It's on the canal, the water frontage or whatever, and it works. And I think this would fit with the Delaware 3. And the density's not it's not like we're putting apartments. It's single-family homes, and I can support that.
Commissioner Merrick?
Yeah, I like the idea and the development. I think we need to have more homes, and it's not an apartment complex, but it would be homes too, and we need that population there to support those businesses in that area as well. And if we expect to get more businesses in that area, then we've got to have more residents down there as well. So I'm in support.
I'm in agreement. I'm in support as well.
Commissioner Pritchard?
I was going to say that, based on the price points in the area, I say that this comes real close to being affordable housing in a good area. So I'd have to support this.
Commissioner Abed?
Yeah, I think this project is well suited for that area, and it'll be very supportive for the business around there, help them being flourished in that area as well. if there are no further comments, I would like to propose zoning case 225-187 ZC, recommendation for approval to the council.
I second.
All right, we have a motion and a second recommending approval. Please vote. And the motion passes 7-1. All right, and that is our last item. Meeting is adjourned at 9:38 PM.